Hi guys! So when it came time to pick my book for the presentation this week, I decided I kind of needed to push myself a little outside of my comfort zone. I mean, the course is wrapping up. I need to show that growth. Because personally, like, if the choice is left up to me, I lean towards, like, chapter books. I mean, the longer the book, the more material, the more you can discuss and you have to work with, and there's a little more, like, squishy space. And so honestly, like, this whole class has kind of been a push for me, like, kind of pushing my boundaries, because as an English major, I mean, this is one of the last few English classes that BYU Idaho offers that I had yet to take. And so I'm more used to, combing through, like, books from history rather than historical fiction. And especially, like, so I mean, just this whole class has kind of been different for me, and so I made myself pick a children's book when it came to picking a book this time around. And so then I ended up going to the library, just decided to start skimming shelves, seeing what I could find. Actually turned out to be the first book I picked up. It was perfect for the historical fiction genre. It tells the story of Abbie Burgess. It's called Keep the Lights Burning, Abbie. It is by Peter and Connie Roop, and the pictures are by Peter E. Hansen. So it tells the story of Abbie Burgess in 1856. She and her family were lighthouse keepers, and at one point her mother was very sick. It was just her and her sisters at home, and her father had to leave to go get supplies. What should have just been a quick day trip turned into several weeks due to storms. They lived up in the Maine coastline, which is very rocky and dangerous, and so Abbie was left in charge of the lighthouse while her father was gone. It was something that extremely worried Abbie, but she was able to keep through it and worked hard and made her father proud. It is based off of Abbie Burgess's personal account of the story, as well as other historical accounts, but I really do feel that through the building of the dialogue and the specific details the author chose to emphasize, it really is their own story, and so I believe it falls into the historical fiction category. I will say the illustrations definitely added to the story. They're very simple, and they're watercolors, which I feel they're not all in black and white. So they're simple watercolors, which I think adds to both, like, the time and the setting of the story, especially when it shows, like, the water. The watercolors really gives it that, like, lifelike feel. Sorry, here. This is probably the best picture to show it. It's just very simple, but it's very pretty, and it really gives that, like, coastal vibe. So I really do think the illustrations overall add to especially, like, the setting of the story. I also think it was really great because, as I said, the authors really took it and made it their own, as they emphasized and focused on specific details of the story and Abbie's experiences. And it really teaches kids about, like, bravery and strength and perseverance, because Abbie, this young girl, was having to spend weeks taking care of her family and racing up and down the stairs late at night through the storms to make sure the lights were kept alight for the sailors, to keep them safe, to keep her family safe, constantly worried about her father, who could potentially be out in the storms. It really was just a really great book, and so I was glad I decided to push myself and go to the library and start picking up picture books, trying to find historical fiction, because that especially would be a topic that I typically would go for, like, a longer book so I could get the whole story from it. But I really did grow and learn from forcing myself outside that comfort zone and making myself pick up a picture book, even though, in my personal opinion, it would have been easier to read a longer book. I hope you guys enjoyed. It really was a fun little book, and it'd be really great to read with kids, because then you could teach them not only about lighthouses, but about, that time period, and explain to them how things were different. And, now lighthouses are more, like, they're run on electricity, and they're much more, like, regulated, but that's something. Abbie has kind of become, like, a legend within the lighthouse keepers community, which I thought was cool, and which I also felt added to, like, the fiction category of this book, because she has become such a, like, character of her own, even though she was a real person. I hope you'd enjoy. Have a great night.